Hello and welcome to the Matthew Ogden Art channel again. A couple of weeks ago I did a video where I looked through a couple of the sketchbooks that I'd used in 2025 and since then I've taken down quite a few sketches that I had stuck to my studio wall, my spare bedroom wall, which is my studio. I often stick pieces of work up to have a look at, just so that I can sit and look at them when I'm working and learn from them, really. But at the end of the year, I tend to take everything down so that I can start afresh with the work that I create in the following year. So I had a bit of a spring clean of the wall, and I thought we would spend a little bit of time looking through those sketches that I'd had pinned to the wall. Now, the first one is not from last year. It's obviously been up there for a little while. It's a little live drawing of a friend of mine who posed for photographs. I work for photographs for this sketch here. Model crouching down, quite a dynamic pose really, just done in pencil, and that was actually done in 2023, so quite a long time ago. Not sure why it was still up on the wall, but it was. Same model for the next one. This one is one that I actually removed from a frame in 2025, so that's why it's loose. I'd had it framed in a large black frame. It's a charcoal of the same model, done of his back, as you can see, and that was from 23 as well. I presume, there isn't a date on this one, but that's the same model again, in charcoal, and it was removed from a frame again to make room in a frame for a new piece of work. And that, I presume, was done at the same sort of time as the previous ones. We're moving forward to 2024 now. There's a hand that I did. That was for a challenge that we had on the Patreon. To do hands, and I did several different hands drawings of hands, pencil, and this one is in charcoal, and I tried to use relief drawing for this, so I covered the paper with quite dark charcoal and then lifted some of the highlights using a putty rubber, a technique that if you've watched the channel before you'll have seen me use many times when using charcoal. But overall I quite liked that one. That was from 24. And I think this one is 2024 as well. That was again a Patreon drink and draw challenge. We get together online and we have a social and a chat while we're actually drawing something. And this was a photo of a DJ Cap, that one of the patrons submitted for us to all draw from. So we all drew the same thing while we sat and chatted. And again, that's been on the wall since 2024. Quite like that one. In those days, I wasn't particularly concentrating on portraits, and I struggled to do portraits. And it was a portrait that I actually quite liked, and the likeness was quite good. Done on grey English paper, as you can see, with charcoal. Right, we're finally now into last year, 2025. This one was from a Raw Umber Studios demo video. Quite an interesting pose because the light was shining from behind on both sides, so there was sort of like a core shadow down the centre of the face. Not particularly brilliant. It was okay, and as I say, in those days I wasn't particularly practiced at doing portraits. I've done a lot of portraiture. You'll see quite a lot in this video here, and that repetition and repeated practice in sketchbooks and things like that, as you saw in the sketchbook video that I did a couple of weeks ago, definitely improves your ability at capturing lightness and features and that sort of thing. But at the time I was quite pleased with it, but I've improved since, which is good. Another Raw Umber Studios drawing here, a life model, done used on grey paper, as you can see, using pencil and also white pencil to add some highlights to it. I'll put a link to the Raw Umber Studios site online if you are interested in practicing figure drawing especially, but also still lives and things like that. They have all sorts of varied stuff on their image library. then it's a really good resource, and I will be rejoining at some point, just to follow along with some of the sort of video demos. But also they have a really good image library of lots of high, well lit sort of photos with strong shadows and things to make it easier to draw from. So I'll put a link in the description to that for you. I'll also put a link, we've just talked about the Patreon. If you're interested in joining us, a small group of artists who are trying to learn from each other and inspire each other with regular challenges and socials online, then I'll put the link to the Patreon in there as well. Just join us to see if you like it for a month. There's no compulsion to stay if you don't like it, but it's a really supportive group, and it's a great way that if you like creating art, but you often find that life gets in the way, it really helps you to create regularly, and also pushes you outside your comfort zone, you know, gets you to try medias that you're not particularly familiar with, and also subject matters that you're not particularly familiar with. We recently did a cartoon fruit drink and draw, which was great fun. I used marker pens for that, so not the subject I'm familiar with, or a media that I'm familiar with, but we really enjoyed it, and it was great fun, great laugh. The next one is from February 2025. I was more happy with this one than the previous one. Just basically charcoal, really. There is some very light white pencil on this to create some highlights, but essentially it's mainly charcoal. Face on view. Again, I've improved since then, but it's great for me to look through these things just to see how I have improved, really, and how the style has changed and things like that. Another Raw Umber Studios one. This one was a draped figure in coloured pencils, something I'm not familiar with using, but I was really pleased with how I managed to sort of get the figure. The demos that you follow along with are an hour long, and I always did these within the hour, so you know it is a sketch, and I was quite pleased with it. This was again in February last year. Again, February, another Raw Umber Studios one. This was the period that I was sort of subscribed to Raw Umber Studios. February last year, January, February, I think it was. Not perfect again, but you know, they try and vary the poses, and of course this is a 3/4 on pose. The eyes aren't quite right on it, but you know, I'm practicing and learning. And you shouldn't beat yourself up about things you get wrong. And the point of me sticking these on the wall to look at is so that I can learn from them and see what's wrong with them by repeatedly looking at them, and hopefully not make the same mistakes when I come back to them. Another life drawing one. They do a life drawing demo and a portrait demo every week normally. So there's a mixture of life drawings and portraits in these. That was in March, that one. Fairly pleased with that one. Didn't particularly look like the model, but I wasn't brilliant at getting likeness in those days. This one I really did like. So again, varied pose, profile view, but I really like the way that the light is capturing this model quite successfully, and also the likeness was really good for that one. March again, coloured paper, an Indian lady in a sari, charcoal and chalk or pastel on this one for the highlights. I really liked the drawing of this one. It was quite nicely drawn, but it wasn't particularly good likeness, I have to say, to the model. But I quite like the folds. It just indicated, as I said a minute ago, all of these were an hour long. So quite a good likeness considering, and a good drawing considering the amount of time. Must have been an Indian theme during March, because that's a man in a turban. And I did like that one, and the likeness was quite good on that one as well. And the next one, unusually a coloured piece, portrait. Not particularly successful, but again, it was okay. Using pastel pencils, I think that was. So something I don't use a great deal, to be honest. but it was quite good. That was the 28th of March. And then the last one that was up on the wall was done for a Patreon fortnightly art challenge, I think, which was disability, I think the actual topic was for this month. And I wanted to capture the rage of somebody who maybe became disabled by having an accident or something, and the fact that they couldn't move anymore in the way that they are used to being able to move. Quite a loose, expressive drawing in charcoal, that on white paper, and that was done in April of 2025. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed having a quick look through those sort of old sketches. I'm going to now put them away in a portfolio, probably under the bed, out of the way. And as I create loose work this year in sketchbooks and whatever, and fortnightly art challenges and Patreon drink and draws, I will be sticking them up on the wall to learn from them this year. And maybe we'll have another video next year which goes through the ones that have been created this year. Okay, well, thanks for watching if you've got this far. Thank you for taking the time to look at my art with me. Do give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. And also, if you're new here, then do consider subscribing and help the channel grow. Okay, I will see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.